What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 229, presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, and on today's episode, we're talking all about them Xbox price increases. Respawn has some issues going on and so much more. Before I get to that, I gotta introduce my co-host, the engineer himself, JamPackSam. How are we, my friend?
I'm doing well. I was teasing Kevin before the show. I have fixed my television, and last week on the show there was nothing wrong with my TV. And directly after the show, I turned on my TV. There was a problem, so I have fixed it.
What happened? Like, how did you, like, what broke? How did it? But do you know how it broke?
Oh, I know exactly how it broke. Okay. All right. Do we want to get into this now? Or?
Yeah, I would love to hear this.
Okay. So I have a new show trick for the people that are early to the show. Alexa, make the office blue. Okay. So I have all of these lights that are controlled behind me now. So what I did, and for the audio listeners, all of the lights behind me turned blue like you would think they would. I had the two light bars on the sides, and I was like, you know what? This is a pain. I need to like upgrade. I want to upgrade this. I'm going to make it to where everything's voice controlled. So I took the old light bars, and I was like, I'm going to slide these behind my TV so that I can then have like cool lighting behind my TV. They aren't meant for this at all. Like I was just like being cheap, and like I didn't want to put them in the closet. So I slide everything behind there, and I'm like, oh, this looks weird. And I'm just going to take it down. So I like slid the bars around multiple times. Lo and behold, I totally forget that all of the cables going into my TV are like taut to the wall. Like they are tight on the entire back of the wall. So I got all the light bars and stuff taken down, got it back the way I was. And I was like, huh, that's weird. TV's on mute. And so then I look on the back, and the headphone jack is literally like 45-degree diagonal to the right. And then I pulled it out, and I started like trying to put it back the way it was. And I just hear it fall into the TV. Like the entire headphone jack just like went in. So then I opened it up, tried to solder the headphone jack back on, bought a soldering kit, cannot solder. I'm not an electrician. Messed up the board. So now I ordered a replacement board for $45 on eBay in California. They shipped it my way. I have now fixed my TV, did not buy a new TV. And we're back in action.
I was gonna say, first of all, very proud of you for you probably did the adult thing and like save some money, fixed it yourself.
Yep.
I would have been like, I guess the TV's toast. I gotta get a new one. Like,
I went to Best Buy twice. I looked at new TVs twice, and I was like, I was talking to the dude, like I was in there, but the guy in the back of my mind was like, because there was nothing wrong with the picture at all. Like if there was any problem, I got this TV in 2018. It's not a super old TV. So if there was anything else wrong with it, I probably would have gotten a new one, but I'm like, I can't just leave this like perfectly good 65-inch. It's a TCL. Like it's not an LG C1 or whatever. Like it's fine. So yeah, we're back in action. I was on a 36-inch 1080p for a week. And now 4K is 8K. I feel like I'm at the movies, dude. Like it's crazy to be back on 4K. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I just listen. I have had those experiences where like, I don't know what's wrong with this thing. I'm just going to throw it out and get a new one. And like my fiance was like, well, what if we find a repair shop? I'm like, it's not worth the time and the effort for me to do. Like, I'm just going to get a new one. That always goes through my mind.
If it was anything over $45, like keep in mind, I already blew $35 on a soldering kit that I'm never going to touch again. So I've got that sitting in there now. But $45 for the fix is fine. So what I was going to do, and I had moved all of this beforehand. Keep in mind, we were talking before the deep squat to pick up a 100-pound TV.
Tore the hamstrings.
Yeah, about tore the hamstrings. But I had moved the giant TV behind me, which is like a 55-inch. So I put it in the closet, and I put my 65-inch in here, and I was like, I'll store it in here and fix it, and it'll be my secondary TV, and I'll get a new one. And then I was like, I need to be an adult. So I have moved the equivalent of like 6 giant TVs over the past week from moving these other ones back and forth. It's very fun.
You can move another one.
I mean, I might as well.
Well, you mentioned the movies, and I know this isn't a movie show, but I saw Sinners this last
I've heard really good things.
So I thought it was good. And you know what, actually? You like the story of South of Midnight a lot. Kind of related. It's that Louisiana lore going on. So it's got some cool stuff. Very good movie. I don't know if I agree 100% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever it is, but
did not hear that was 100%. That's impressive.
It was when I last looked. It was at 100%. So yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah, very good movie. Very good movie.
Are you equally shocked that Thunderbolts is like good? Apparently,
Yes, 95%, and I'm just like, how can that possibly be? You're
because
telling me
that
this
was
is
giving me like 20s energy. Like I was getting not good vibes from
one.
the trailers.
Yeah, no, none of the trailers have blown me away. Like, I'm gonna see it because I see all the Marvel movies, but I'm always just like 95%. You're telling me this is one of the best MCU movies to ever be made, and I'm like, really? But I'll see it in a few weeks. I go on Tuesdays to the movies when it's $6.
Ooh, $6 movie sounds good. I pulled up the IMDb and it says the director is Jake Schreier, and I thought it said Jason Schreier, and I was like, whoa, hold on, that's crazy.
No, I did the same thing because Sam Heaney saw it today, and he tweeted about it, and blue skied it or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And he wrote Jake Schreier, and I started reading it as Jason Schreier. I thought he was giving a compliment to like Bloomberg or something, and then he talks about the Thunderbolts. I'm like, what did I miss here? What's going on?
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the show. Yeah, how can that be? How can that be? Let's get into the show proper. This is Project XTalk. We are an Xbox podcast. Despite what you've heard for the last 6 minutes, we are live every Thursday right here on youtube.com/SaveTheGameMedia. If you can't catch us live, post every Friday morning on your favorite audio platform of choice. While you're over there, please drop us a review. It does help us in the algorithm. If you want to support us even further, get early audio access to all of our content, exclusive bonus content, head over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia. Choose a tier that's right for you, like our current supporters. So thank you to Todd Oxtra, Alpaca Tom, Rick Davis, Silkenet, Lee Navarro, Dave Harp, David Hotright, Lillian, the Xbox Expansion Pass, Marcus O'Neill, Brendan Myers, aka the Winter Gamer, Nikolaya Knight, Fabulous Brianna, and Brianna's mom. If you can't afford that $1 and just want to check out some content, we do offer a 7-day free trial, and you can sign up just like our newest trial member, Gothic Hello Kitty. Sorry, Gothic Hello Kitty.
Good name.
Yeah, great name. But that's enough with housekeeping. So why don't we jump into what have we been playing, Sam? I'm gonna start with you. I know you were playing Marathon last week. I don't know if you spent any more time with it. I've heard lots of people kind of having similar thoughts to what you were saying last week. But what have you been playing the last week?
Yeah, I have not picked Marathon back up, partially with the TV. Okay, yeah, sure. But yeah, I just haven't felt compelled to go back to it. I might check it out whenever it launches and get back into it then. I have been playing Expedition 33. So,
oh, really now?
Yes, I have. So, I was going to play Oblivion Remastered, and I was just going to like totally focus on that and then go back to Expedition. The fiance currently on the other side of the wall on the currently fixed TV is playing Expedition 33, and she wanted somebody to talk about it with. So now I'm playing Expedition 33.
Great choices all around.
Yeah, fantastic choices. So I'm not super far into it. I want to say I put like 4 hours in. Obviously, again, TV's been down. She's also been playing a ton of it. She's 12 hours in, so she's much further ahead of it than me. But yeah, I've been playing a good bit of it, really enjoying it. The story and like it's almost more of like a movie in my mind. But the thing, I'm on story mode, by the way. I'm not trying to do. It's a very difficult game. I feel like it's super like. And again, I know that I'm not typically the guy that plays these types of games, but like. Fucking hard.
No, it is a very. So here's my problem. Like, I don't think it's actually that difficult. Some bosses towards the end get kind of like ridiculous, where they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a 9-hit combo on you. You better be ready to nail those parries, or your whole party's gonna be dead." But at the beginning, I was like, "This is very manageable." Like, I don't like parrying in games. That's one of my like. I think I've said that as like a hot take. Like, I really don't like parrying, and I feel like that's a mechanic that's really widespread these days. But I feel like I could do it enough to be like, okay, I'm okay at this. So I played on normal mode the whole way through, but I don't blame anyone for going to story, because there are times certainly that the window can be frustrating, especially when they're like, they attack slowly and then they'll like raise their sword and you're like, it's coming. And then they like wave it a little more. And I'm like, are you going to attack me or what?
Yeah. I saw a guy on TikTok that was like all the enemies in Expedition 33. And he's just like walking by and he's like, he's just giving him like a little, like a flinch, like a little gut check, like he's getting ready to smack you. Like that cracked me up. But I think the thing with me is that, I'm the opposite, where I love parrying. Like anything with a hardcore parrying system, I'm there. But I need a visual indicator that like, okay, now is the time you hit the button. And so I was actually going into the accessibility menu. I'm like, is there like a timing thing that I can turn on where there's like a red flash or something that I know I need to? No. And like, I'm not complaining about it. I get why they did it. You have to learn the moves of the enemies. Like, that's part of the game. So I'm kind of like coming to terms with that. But I am playing on story just because I don't need any friction to turn me off from
Mm-hmm.
continuing, because this is already a game that's like against the grain for me. So like I'm going with the flow with it, but I'm really enjoying the story. I just got through the flooded water area, like the first kind of like
Great.
area that
Yep.
opens up. And so I'm looking forward to, now that the TV's fixed and I don't have to like spend the whole weekend figuring out if I need to buy a new TV or fix a TV or whatever. I'm gonna hang out, play some games. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. So I have also been playing Expedition 33, and before we get into it, I do want to bring up Silken. It says, "Oh, parry timing is more sound based," and this is something I've been kind of spreading the word because
Mm,
this game has a lot of things about it that it doesn't tell you. Because
a
I've seen,
lot.
yeah. So I've seen people be like, I get lost. Like I need a mini map. I get lost, and I'm always just like, first of all, like the zones are pretty linear. Like they have some branching ways to go, like look and explore and loop around. But I keep telling everyone, I'm like, okay, if you want a hint, whatever the light source, like a lamppost, a torch, that
Mhm.
leads you to the main objective. The other ways without the light source are for exploration. Those are where you're going to find
Mm,
the items. And like, and the game doesn't tell you this. Like
yeah,
that's just something you have to figure out, like game design wise. Like you notice, you're like, oh, if I follow these, I always end up where I need to go, right?
right.
Um, the other thing
Is that those who
is,
came before? Is that
yeah,
they
yeah,
left?
those that came before, let me know.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, Silken, as you were saying, so the parry timing is not animation based, and it kind of drove me nuts for a while until I realized it's sound based. So you have to play this game with the sound on or headphones because there's always like a little indicator of when, oh, that noise tells me hit the parry here. It's not like when the sword glows. Nah. It's like when the sword glows and then you hear a little ding afterwards or something. Like that's the
Interesting.
time to hit the parries. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I need to go back, because I think that would explain it, because keep in mind, I've been on like 2011 TV speakers for the past week that have been super low because they're shitty. So now that I have a soundbar back, maybe I'll actually be able to perform pretty well in it. So we'll see.
Yeah, Ghostly Guides, who I've been talking to and has dropped Expedition 33, said, am I the only one that thinks auditory cues are way more exclusionary than visual? I don't have the best hearing, nor does my mind pick up on sound-based things that easily made me drop the game. And I do think that can be an issue.
Oh yeah.
Even on story mode, because even on story mode, you got to parry you got to parry stuff or at least dodge, or you'll still end up dying.
Oh yeah, totally. And I mean, even story mode, like there, like you said, there are difficulties there. And I think, I was going into the accessibility menu to see if there was an option there, because it feels like that's something that should be there. Like if you are deaf,
Mm-hmm.
how do you navigate like that? Like, and I'm legitimately asking, like, how would you do that and play that game if you actually do have a deep, real medical issue with that? But that is good to know. So I'm going to dive in and see what's up with that. Especially, I'll throw on a headset and see if I can really get rolling on it. But I don't think it's a super long game. It's like 30 hours, right? Have you rolled credits, or are you still going in?
Yeah, I was gonna get into it. I do see Luke saying he has the same issue as Ghostly Guides. He can't hear the noises. So I don't know if that's something like maybe Sandfall can get that feedback and kind of add an accessibility feature for
Mhm.
that type of thing. Because I do know there's very limited accessibility features. I think the one big one is like turn off the QTEs, but that doesn't stop the parrying, right? Like that just stops your hitting
Yeah.
A and whatever for extra damage. So yes, I have rolled credits on Expedition 33. I played this game a lot in the last week, I will say.
That was another one where you're on Discord. And I'm like, Kevin's playing Expedition 33.
Isn't he working right now? No, don't worry about that. Yeah. So I've rolled credits. It took me roughly, I want to say 25-ish hours. And that's with some side content, but not a lot. Like I dabbled in it. So there's a
Mhm.
bunch more things. There's secret bosses to find, which you have to be like level 99 to even stand a chance against some of these secret
Wow.
bosses. It's absolutely crazy. But I come away from Expedition 33, and Sam Heaney and I over at No Limits, we plan to do a review and spoiler discussion about this. So I come away thinking that this is probably my current game of the year, and that while I'm still digesting it, this may be one of my like top 25-ish games of all time. Like I
Wow.
really really love Expedition 33, not from just a visual standpoint, but from a story standpoint, from an acting standpoint. Like, people asked me, I think it was Freight Conductor, asked me to sum up my thoughts, and I went with tragically beautiful, because I think that describes basically the entire game, where this game has such good emotional moments between characters, especially as you get further in the game and you start unlocking things at your camp where they're having discussions and you get to learn more about each character. It's just like, it's full of sadness, it's full of melancholy, but it all works and comes together in such a beautiful package that it just like, I can't stop thinking about it. I walk around my house singing the Claire Obscura. Like, I just walk around that, and like my fiance walked in and she's like, what are you playing right now? I'm like, I can't explain it to you. It's French. You wouldn't get it. All right. Don't worry what's on the screen. So like, genuinely a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying my time with it, and I think that it's a really good example of just how Game Pass has been on fire. You know, like you see subscriptions, we'll talk about it, are kind of the way of the road. That's where people are moving towards, and that's what the industry is leaning towards. And to be able to see like the value of Game Pass over the past couple of weeks, like Expedition 33, Blueprints, Oblivion Remastered, all the other stuff that's come out. I think this is like one of those cream of the crop things that's been able to benefit both from word of mouth and positive press and really good reviews, but also being very accessible through that. So that's how I'm playing it. That's how I wouldn't have played it otherwise. You know, I probably wouldn't have bought the game for $50 because it's not something I typically play, but now the whole household's able to enjoy it. So very good game so far for me.
And what I like is, I know I mentioned a concern both on social media and on the show. It's like, why would they drop Oblivion right now, right? And Oblivion is something I want to play, but I was like, it's kind of eating Expedition 33's lunch. That doesn't seem to be the case at all from what I've seen. I think the developers talked about it, or they shared some statistics, but like Expedition 33, over 1 million copies sold in 3 days, right? Like, they can't keep physical copies in stock at the moment. So Oblivion, apparently no concerns there with it dropping at the same time. And I love to see that, especially like new team, new IP, and a phenomenal game getting rewarded.
Yeah, I saw a statistic, and I have no idea if it's true or not, but it said like 33% of people that are playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33 are also playing Oblivion Remastered. And it's like, okay, that's really neat to see. I don't know if that's just Game Pass numbers or it's the internet, so it could be a lie. Who knows? But the thing that I wanted to bring up, and I'm curious if anybody else in the chat or the comments later on feel the same way. Whenever I'm playing this, I have like, it's like the dude from Ratatouille that like bites into the dish and it like takes him back to his childhood. So like, as soon as I started up Expedition 33, I'm like, oh, there's some Order 1886 DNA in this thing. Like, there's a little bit of Order 1886, like steampunk, weird, like Monster Hunter kind of vibe stuff going on, and I love that stuff, man. I loved Expedition, or I love Order 1886, and to have that like twinge of that in there, love that. It's like a little lemon zest for me, so that's really kind of kept me going too.
Yeah, the visual art style is very appealing. Just like the designs of characters and the monsters, especially. I love the era we're in, and I don't know when it started, of just like weird ass enemy designs. Like Scarlet Nexus had those. This game has that. Like, I don't know when this happened, but I'm here for it.
I would say it's probably roughly around the time Death Stranding came out. That's what I would say. It's about when we started getting the real weird stuff.
Yes. Your fellow Sam is right there with you. Order 1886.
That's what I'm saying, man. I rented that game from Redbox. No Life did in one day because it was only like 6 hours long. So really good game on that one.
I wanted to play it, and I was like, oh, this game will surely be on PS Plus, like the game catalog. It's not. And
That's unbelievable.
I'm like, Sony, like, you're still trying to sell this game for like full price? Like, what's going on? Just put in the of all the games.
That's one of those things where it was just like such a victim of timing. Wasn't that Ready at Dawn that made that?
I think so.
Yeah, and then they shut down, right?
I thought they got bought by Meta and are making like VR games now.
No, they got shut down. Yeah. Well, Meta shut them down in 2024. That's what it was. So they were making VR games, and then they got shut down. That is such a bummer because that was a really, really good game.
Yeah. So some call it the Hellblade of PlayStation.
I had some of that energy in there too. 6 hours of gameplay, 24 hours of film, says Captain Logan. Not wrong. Not wrong. Good bit of a movie in there.
What up, Logan? Well, Expedition 33, I'll talk about a lot more on our review discussion, spoiler cast. Stay tuned for that. But I did play a little bit of another game that's in Game Pass, and that's Towerborn. And I saw
Tell me about it.
Nissa saying they were also playing it. So I'm very early, like an hour and a half into this game, right? And my initial impressions are it's okay. Nothing glowing. It's a side-scrolling action RPG essentially. You mainly just hit the X and Y button right now. You have a special move you can do with the left trigger and the X button. 4 different types of classes that'll just basically change what weapon and like your look. But so far, I've found the game very easy, and I'm only I think on danger level 2, like level 4 in my class. No, level 6 in my class. So I'm not again not super far into it. I've done a handful of missions, but it is very easy so far. And I'm just like, when can I bump the difficulty up and really get to like the harder challenge? Especially when you're playing with others, it becomes almost trivial.
Yeah, I definitely want to dive in and give it a shot. This is one of the games that I have my eye on after I finish going through Expedition 33, or maybe like if I'm bored on a morning or whatever, I can pick it up and play it. But the things you're telling me are actually kind of selling me on it. I see it's called a looter brawler on Steam. Are you
You
getting
get a lot of loot.
a lot
You
of
get
loot? Okay, tell me
yeah.
about the loot. What does that entail? Is that like weapons and stuff, or is
Yeah.
that just like money? Or
No, so at the end of every mission, you'll get like here's all the loot you got, and then you'll get like a bunch of armor, like headpieces, body, whatever, all the standard loot, weapons. And then you can also get things like essence to like put into your armor, make it better. Because there's a blacksmith, you go there, you upgrade weapons. It has all those RPG tropes, so it is very like it's simple. It's nothing too complicated. It's like, oh, number go up, stats go up. I'm gonna put that on, and you kind of look ridiculous, but it is what it is. Like I'm not overly invested because I gotta be honest. I think my character is pretty ugly. Like I sat there in the character creator, and I was like, every option is horrible. Like I don't like the look of any character in this game.
interesting. I see Nissa in the chat saying that it would be good on handhelds. Would you agree with that as a like a claw kind of Game Pass play kind of
Probably, yeah.
situation?
I
Yeah.
can see it probably be good because you don't need fast reactions. You don't need like it's a very chill game so far. I don't know if it gets harder as the more you play it, but it is quite chill at the moment.
Yeah, nice. I see it's still sitting mostly positive on Steam. So yeah, I'm glad you are I'm glad you're starting to enjoy it and exploring it a little bit. So I'll have to dive in and see what's up with it myself.
There's a lot of people playing. Like when you go to this hub world and like all the players are just there and it's always packed. Like I have like frame rate issues because there's so many people in the lobby at once.
Interesting. I wonder how this stacks up to something like 33 Immortals, because I feel like those are different, but like I put
Hmm.
them in the same like camp in my mind of like you kind of need multiplayer, kind of don't, but it feels like it could lean itself towards that. I don't know.
Having played both, I think Towerborn is the better game.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
Just because I don't think there's a lot of content in 33 Immortals. I think Towerborn is further along in their development process.
And they're both still early access, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right.
No achievements, which sucks.
But they pop after it goes live, like for the real
I
deal,
don't
right? Is that how that works?
think so. I don't think they're supported, but I mean they're not supported right now. But I've never I don't know if I went back to it. You know what? I should go check out Grounded because Grounded I played in early access.
That's true. You could see that because I know, like, I've had early release games that didn't have achievements
Yes,
activated and then they pop, but
same.
I don't know how that works for like regular games. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, that is all I've been playing. Probably gonna jump into Oblivion remaster next. I
Very
think.
nice.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that.
But let's get into the lovely and happy news week that we have. So it was going to be a pretty chill week. I wrote the show yesterday. I was like, not much news this week. Kind of low key. And then Xbox was like, psych. So story number one: Xbox is increasing prices. We warned you just a few weeks ago that the US tariff situation could impact Xbox, and it appears it may already have. Xbox announced today that they're raising prices on Xbox consoles, controllers, accessories, and games. Consoles and accessories will see an immediate worldwide increase, but what exactly is changing? While we won't cover everything and you have to go to your specific region breakdown for regional prices, here are the big ones changing in the United States. Xbox Series S 512 gigabyte consoles are going from $300 to $380. Xbox Series S 1 terabyte is going from $350 to $430. The Xbox Series X digital is going from $450 to $550. The Xbox Series X standard is going from $500 to $600, and the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte is going from $600 to $730. Xbox has also stated that starting this holiday, new first-party games will have an adjusted MSRP of $80, although they do say games will still be priced according to their scale, such as Hellblade 2 being $50. Sam, initial reactions, Xbox came out today and was like, hey, we're making everything more expensive. Hope that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, man, where like as somebody who does podcasts and like talks about stuff online, you know, like I have an Xbox sign here. It's an Xbox podcast. Like clearly I'm a fan of Xbox. Like that's the thing. But you've got to match the energy, right? Whenever you talk about Mario Kart World being $80 and you talk about PlayStation price increases in certain areas around the world, it's like that doesn't, just because the box is green doesn't make it any better. Like it still sucks that all of these prices are going up. And the fact of the matter is, we're talking about 5-year-old hardware. So like if I go back and you say, hey, we're making the Steam Deck $150 more or whatever the equivalent is, I'm not going to like, all right, the Switch Lite is now $75 more. Why would I pay $70? No, I'm not going to do that. And so that's what sucks is that now you have like the top of the line Xbox that is still 5 years old, but now you're paying $80 to $100 more for it. And that's just crazy. And it sucks because now you're kind of shoehorning people into this position of if you want to play Grand Theft Auto 6 and you don't have money to buy a PC, then you're going to have to pay $80 more, which is a considerable amount. I mean, you're like, let's just say a Series S is normally on sale for $200 and you got to buy one at $380 now. Like that's a pretty significant price increase. You know, it just sucks for people that haven't already gone in on the next generation. And I think looking at the way that the games have straddled the last two generations between PS4 and PS5 and Series X to Xbox One, a lot of people haven't upgraded yet. And so now that like you're starting to see those next gen pushes, people are going to start to get new consoles and it's going to be more than they would have paid if they had gotten it earlier. So it's just, you can't win. And it really sucks. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, I've seen people blaming Nintendo for this, which I think is a wild take because like
it's just the optics.
It is just the optics because Mario Kart's $80. I get that. We'll talk about the $80 game situation, but like sticking on the console pricing, it is absolutely insane that your launch Series X is now the cheapest way to buy a series. Like you would have to go back in time and get this console. The Xbox Series X digital that I bought the end of last year after my Xbox crapped the bed, right? That was $450. And now the Series S is almost that price, right? Like that is crazy that we're increasing prices this much. And it makes me think of like, remember 2 years ago when Costco was like, hey, $120 you can get a Series S. Like, what I don't know what's going. Oh, I do know what's going on. Like terrorists, global economic disturbance. Like there's a whole bunch of things. And I see people trying to be like, oh, this is just Microsoft being greedy. As we talked about a few weeks ago, like most of Xbox's consoles are made in China. There is still a 145% Chinese tariff, right? So like we expected them. I don't know if we expected them this dramatically, this like worldwide immediate. And it does suck for people in other countries who are like, we don't have tariffs. Like you're paying for essentially the US instability with this situation, right? I think that's unfortunate. Now, if we move over to the games, $80.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, I will never pay $80 for a new video game. That is way too much money. I'm going to die on this hill. I've been saying it all day. I'm a sales boy now. All right. I'm gonna wait for sales. Like, what can we do? We are pricing people out of this hobby.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is getting crazy. And I always see the discussion, and like I've used it before, and I think there's validity to it of looking at the prices for certain games in the 90s and you compare them to where they are today. And it's like, I forget off the top of my head what the examples are, but it's like Super Mario 64 would have been the equivalent of $70 or $80. Like you see those things where the old Toys R Us ads are brought up. But I mean, you're looking at a place where like, how do you, as somebody, like I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody in high school, like whenever I was working at McDonald's saving up for a PS4, and like I wanted to buy Killzone Shadowfall, and I wanted to buy an Xbox One and get Halo 5 and like all this stuff. Like how do you, as somebody that doesn't have any kind of fundamental like monetary foundation, plan to spend $80 on these games? So I just feel for the people that are trying to get into the hobby, the people that are already in it, that like have made this their whole thing, like you and I, where it's just like, this is a whole lot of money going forward. And I always come back to like, okay, I have Game Pass, and I know that we can talk about the potential for a price increase to come there as well. But right now, like, I don't have to buy Doom. I don't have to buy Towerborn if I wanted to play it. Didn't have to buy Oblivion Remastered, Expedition 33 if I wanted to check out Blueprints. Didn't have to buy Call of Duty last year. All of the Battlefields are on there. Like all of this, it's really showing the value of it. And then the Xbox Play Anywhere side of that too kind of negates the whole console conversation in a lot of ways. Not, to the degree that people would say that's a real example of something you could do, but you could. Like it's an interesting facet that Xbox has kind of found themselves in. So, yeah, the $80 stuff is tricky. And then I also, tariffs are obviously the big thing to blame here, in my opinion, as well. But Jeff Grubb had a really good video on his channel that's outside of Giant Bomb, which, by the way, shout out to the Giant Bomb guys that are like going through it along with Polygon this week.
Nonsense going on.
Two of like the really good outlets that are out there having good conversations. But Jeff was like, yes, tariffs, but also it's an excuse for any company to be able to say, hey, we're going to up these prices. And like, you really think that after these tariffs go away, Xbox is going to be like, yeah, never mind, back down to $500. No, they're going to keep making this money. And I saw a lot of people saying this is going to hurt console sales, going back to the console side of the conversation. And I'm like, you might sell fewer consoles, but like you weren't selling that many to begin with.
I was going to bring that up. Like I didn't include it. The financial reports just came out and like, oh, Xbox console sales are down 5% this quarter. Like they're down every quarter. So like ultimately, like Xbox probably isn't going to lose that much money because their consoles aren't selling anyway. And this probably pushes people more towards things like PC, cloud. Like they're moving towards that direction.
Yeah, no, and I made a video talking about the price increases earlier today, and all the comments are like, it's like they want me to go to PC. And I always want to reply and be like, yes, why? Yes, they do. They want you on Windows playing PC games. They literally don't care where you play as long as you're playing. And Xbox has such a wide grasp of the industry right now that you can play anywhere and they're going to have you one way or the other. And so that just changes the whole dynamic of the way that they talk and think about games internally, I'm sure. And so, yeah, I don't think the console price increases are going to have any kind of long-standing effect on the health of the company or the overall sales revenue they drive, because the consoles weren't driving to begin with.
Where does this leave the competition? I fully expect PlayStation to announce similar price increases. I know they've done it in other regions. The US has been isolated from that so far, but I told everyone, I was like, guys, it's coming. Like PlayStation's financials come out I think a few weeks. It would not be unexpected if they drop an announcement probably like end of the month.
Yeah, I think PlayStation might have a more difficult time doing it because they've already hiked the price in other areas and other regions where I don't think Xbox had to the same degree. I do think Xbox had price increases.
They did.
But like not in the same. I think PlayStation's had two. I don't know if Xbox has had two as well.
Just one, I believe.
Yeah, so like there have been changes globally, but yeah, again, you've now set the norm. And I think that's where the Nintendo side of the conversation comes in, of like, everybody's kind of like got their guns drawn. It's like the Office meme where like everybody's kind of like pointing who's going to go. And so Nintendo's like, $80, for Mario Kart World. And then Microsoft can fire and be like, $550 Series S digital or Series X digital. Like they can then go and do their thing. So yeah, man, I think the dominoes are just kind of like tipped, and I think it'll be inevitable. I was in another Discord chatting about it, and they were like, when do you think PlayStation's going to price increase? And I was like, graphics get made, dude. The designers on it, like the big wall of text already written. Like
Yeah,
the AI has generated that. It's ready.
yeah, because I saw people like, oh, you can get a PlayStation 5 Pro for the cost of this new 2 terabyte Series X, right? Which
$730 is crazy. Like, I cannot get over that one of like, that is a 5-year-old console with a different paint job and an expansion card for $730.
yeah, that's egregious. But I saw people like, oh, go get a PS5 Pro. I'm like, get one now if you're gonna get it, because when that price increase comes and it's 800 something, like it's like it's gonna happen. I'm fully expecting it. I wouldn't be surprised if PS Plus goes up. And that brings me to Game Pass. Like, I think Game Pass is gonna go up this year. Like I know people are like, oh, they gotta use the $80 as like a big draw. Like, look how much cheaper you can get it. And I was like, I don't think I think it's gonna go to like $25.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I said it in the Discord. I think if you go up to $25 and you have the cadence that you've had over the past month, I think you could have the value of like people are sticking around. If you can, like, if $25 gets me every game people are talking about, like it has over the past 5 weeks, okay. But if you look back to like October, November, December, barring Call of Duty, obviously, which was kind of like the big standout, but like there were some dry spells, January, February, like other than Avowed, like that we had some iffy weeks. And so I think that's where your mileage varies. I know you've talked before about being the kind of like, like we might do Hulu or whatever, where like the new show comes out, I'm going to resub for Hulu and then leave. Ubisoft does it all. The people do it with Ubisoft, where like the new Far Cry drops and they try it on Ubisoft Plus. But like for me, I'm still not going anywhere, even if there was a price increase, because I'm spending $25 a month on a game either way every month. And I'm probably going to I'll buy, let's say, one new game every month, maybe. Like, let's just say that, round it up. $25 is going to give me something new to play. And I'm talking about like multiple good. Yeah, it's still going to be worth it for me, but that's not how everybody works. Like, you can spend $160 on 2 games, which is painful, but get like a lot of mileage out of them depending on what you want to play. So it's just every man for himself, I think, right now.
Yeah, so my current Game Pass runs out in 2 weeks, roughly.
Ooh.
Yes. So I'm like, ooh, that gives me 4 days to beat Doom. I wonder if I can do that. Probably not. So like my current, yeah, maybe. I don't know how long Doom the Dark Ages is, but my current plan, because of this, because of what I think impending price increase is, like, I'm going to take I'll sub for a month approach, whether that's console Game Pass, whether that's PC Game Pass, now that I have a more capable graphics card, depending on the game, right? Like if it's something I don't think my PC can handle, that I'll probably hop on the console. But like I have options now where I can go like, oh, $12, $20, still cheaper, still saving me money. But I don't think it's going to be like I have to have this year round.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, for me, it's like I think I'm the perfect example of like the entire generation's ridden on Game Pass, and I got it towards the end of the Xbox One with my ex, and so like I remember whenever Doom Eternal came out, and I was playing Doom Eternal on Game Pass, and so now we're coming full circle with Doom the Dark Ages, and now it's like if I didn't have Game Pass, I don't have anything to play. Like I don't own a whole lot of games, which like that's a conversation in and of itself, and one that like largely I'm cool with, because I'm not somebody who goes back and plays games. Like, I'm subbing for the experience and then I'm good. Like, that's kind of the way that my philosophy is at this point. And I still like buying physical whenever I need something. Like, I have Immortals of Avium on physical, for example. Like, I wanted to support that. But yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting one to see if the price increases, because that'll change the way that I look at it. And I think a lot of more scrutiny is going to come from the community on like how good the updates really are. Like, if you have a whole bunch of Patrick Star of the games and not a whole lot of Oblivion remasters, it's going to get a little shaky there in the comments.
For sure, for sure. Well, we have some questions regarding this. So Sam Heaney wrote in, says, does the price increase act as a buffer to prevent Game Pass increasing in price, or will that happen as well regardless? Do you think Sony will take the bait and use Xbox as cover to take the flack, or will they take a comparative loss to become a far more attractive option optically? So there is that option. PlayStation could very much, if they wanted to, come out and be like, hey, we're going to keep our prices the same, $70, console prices staying the same. They could very well do that. And then I think they absolutely run away with this generation more than they already are. Like, it's already what, 2-1, 3-1 almost. Like, it would just be an absolute bloodbath at that point, I think, because then there would really be not much of a reason to get an Xbox.
Yeah, I think that it's a really good question. And I think it comes down to a couple of different things. I think that it's a question of like, how much are the tariffs really impacting the price of these productions for all these different companies? Because everybody's got similar pipelines, I'm sure, but like there are differences between them. And so like, is Sony so far in the lead that they would rather get that positivity, kind of like the here's how you share your games on PlayStation video, where it's like they dunked so hard that it was like you just totally shot Xbox into the ground for that generation. And so if they are so far ahead this generation to the point that we think they are, to where they don't mind being able to take the hit on the tariff production cost and be able to like basically shore up that they're going to be the next generation that everybody goes with like they were the last generation, I could totally see it happening. On the flip side, why would you not say like, hey, Ghost of Yotei is coming out, $80? Because everybody in the comments, you're going to have a lot of people that are complaining about the price tag, but everybody's like, but look at the quality, look how good this looks, you know, like you're going to have like that situation. And so I think it would be okay if they did it, but even from like an optics perspective at this point. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to end up doing, but I do think they have ample cover to do it between like Mario Kart World being $80 is the one that I keep coming back to. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, $80. Like,
well, you know, it's DLC, all right? It's 60 plus 20 for DLC.
But Ghost of Yotei like justifies the $80 comparatively when you look at that like optically. And so I think they have ample cover to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah, and I know I said a few weeks ago, like I've been firmly in the camp of like, oh, I didn't think $80 were gonna become the norm. I didn't think Mario Kart was like a signal. I thought it was really just like, we know this is going to be the standout. Like we sold 75 million Mario Kart 8s, right? We know we can get a lot of money for this. We're also bundling it. So if you really want it, you can get it for 50 with the bundle. Like I thought they were pulling some 5D chess situation here. Turns out, nah, it's actually just games are going to be $80 now. And we want a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm very curious too, because like I don't see it in the notes or anything, and we don't have to talk about it obviously, but like Borderlands 3 got pushed up 2 weeks, and everybody's like, oh, Grand Theft Auto 6 must be coming out the 2 weeks after Borderlands 3 is coming out. And so Randy Pitchford's like, nah, that's not happening. But then you've got like, but is it? And so I think at this point, it's kind of like how, and this is where I like put on my tinfoil hat, where yeah, I traded in my Series S 2 weeks ago because GameStop was giving like $250 for it. Clearly there had been some communication about, hey, we're about to up these prices. And they were like, okay, we're going to get everybody in here, get all their used consoles.
That's such dirty nonsense.
But you know, that's how it, like, you know, the Xbox
that makes way more sense now. Yeah.
You know, the Xbox rep sent GameStop an email and they were like, hey, we're about to up these prices. So they're getting all these pre-owned consoles in the door. So now whenever everybody's trying to buy GTA 6, you'll have my Series S over there that I got paid more for than I thought it was worth, but now is underpaid. And now they're totally going to turn that around and turn a profit. And so everybody's going to be talking about that. So if internally they're like, all right, Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out at this point, then that's the question of like, hey, that's going to be $80. So you hear that Mario Kart's doing it. You hear that potentially Grand Theft Auto is doing it. You're like, why wouldn't I make Fable $80? Why wouldn't I make Outer Worlds 2 $80? Like I feel like there's definitely some inside baseball of like they know what's coming and they're just kind of like getting ahead of it.
I think Grand Theft Auto being $80 is probably the minimum it's gonna be
for like the base edition.
Yeah. No, like I could see it being 100, like just straight up base edition.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a crazy one. $100.
No, I said 80 was crazy. Oh, we're not going to 80, but then like you asked me 6 years ago, and I'll be like $70. I'm not paying $70. Like, that's nonsense. And then like we just slowly adjusted. It's like I think 80. We're approaching the point where it's like, man, like that's a lot of money. Like, you know what I could do for $100? Like,
I mean, but like being real though, what could you do for $100? Like, I mean,
these days, not that much.
Like buy groceries, yeah. Like you can buy food and stuff around. I listen, man. I walked across the street to the store last night. I had two handfuls of groceries. Now, was I struggling a little bit? Yeah, but like I had 2 handfuls of groceries, $115. Like you cannot do a lot with $100. So I mean, it's just like that's the shitty thing is everything's expensive. Like it's not just games. Like everything is really pricey. So it's rough.
I will say, you know what this announcement helped me with is convincing my fiance that I was right in pre-ordering the Switch 2. Because I sent her this article and I went, This is why I bought the Switch 2 at launch, because my Xbox and my PlayStation cheaper today, or cheaper 5 years ago than they are today, and that could happen with the Switch 2. So we got to get in now. All right, we got to get in now.
I like Alpaca Tom in the chat says, my guy's shopping at Whole Foods. No, I buy store brand, brother. I just didn't have any meat at all. Like I had to go buy some. Like I was eating like crackers and stuff. I had to go buy some meat.
Walking home with bags of meat.
I did. But yeah, I mean, even going back to the TV story I had at the beginning of the show where I'm like, I'm really glad I don't have to buy a TV right now, because I'm sure that my $500 TV I would buy is probably going to be $250 more by the end of next week because of all of these weird price increases. So it's just crazy.
Absolutely. Well, we have one more question. Ghostly Guides wrote in, said, with increasing game prices, won't that just deter people from buying new games and instead push them towards games on sale or replaying older games or free-to-play titles? Steam Playtime was hugely focused on older and free-to-play titles rather than new games. Is that where consoles will head as well?
I mean, like, on the left side of my monitor over here, I've got the news stuff coming, and it's like Fortnite returns to iPhones and iPads next week after 4 years. That's where people are going. Like whenever you hit these hard times like that, yes, free to play games are going to blow up. Like I think that's why. And again, not to like get into the nitty gritty of analyzing everything, because I'm not an analyst by any means, but the fact that EA put a Titanfall extraction shooter on hold and they're reinforcing Apex Legends and like they're going forward with that. If the next 5 years is really rough economically and you can continue playing Apex Legends with your friends like you have since 2019 or whenever that launched, that's what people are going to do. And so I think that free to play is going to continue blowing up. I do think that like it is super interesting to see Marathon launching at potentially $40, $50, something like that. You've got Expedition 33 and Oblivion at $50. I think that you're going to see people that are going to take a risk on that $40 to $50 price range, even in the like AA, AAA space, because you're going to have these $80 Goliaths, like potentially like a Borderlands 4 or whatever. It might be $80. But then you've got, Borderlands 4 is $80, or we could play Marathon for 40 or 50. And it's like, that's an easier sell for people that might be trying to pinch pennies, because you could get Oblivion and Expedition 33 for the price of like basically one Fable or whatever when it comes out, whenever you factor in tax and stuff. So like I think that's where you're going to see a lot of growth.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, free to play titles are already huge, right? Isn't it like 1 in every 10 minutes of gaming time is spent on Fortnite or something? Like I remember hearing some ridiculous stat of like most people are just playing Fortnite, right? Which makes sense. But I think I think people are going to be pushed more towards free to play titles for sure. I do think there is going to be decreased spending on new game titles. I think that won't apply to all new game titles. Like Monster Hunter Wilds came out, right? And like people didn't care that was $70. Like it sold 10 million copies in like a month or something, right? Like there are going to be those staples of the industry that people are like, whatever, I'm going to pay no matter what because I want it day one. I do think that there are going to be like new IP that might struggle if they come out at the $80 price point. And that's where I looked at things, as you were saying, Expedition 33 came out $50 price point. We got the release date for Wu Chang Fallen Feathers this week, right? And that is also a $50 game. I would love if we can establish that AA indie space again, where it is like $20, $30, $40, $50. Like those games are in those ranges instead of like, we have to come out of 60 because every game comes out of 60, right? Like we want to play with the big boys. Like establish your price point, and I think you will thrive. And I will certainly be more attracted to that because like I'm looking at all the games that I have loved, like games that are some of my favorites of all time, and they tend to fall in that AA range, right? Like I'm thinking like a Plague Tale, a Hellblade, like those are the games that I love, and those are always more shorter, tighter, cheaper experiences.
Yeah, no, I think there's a ton of potential there. And I think that, I would love to see more growth there, because I think that's where teams are like able to be more creative and kind of like, it seems like those are the teams that are setting their own path forward. And the other thing I would say too, is that whenever you look at what Doug Bowser was talking about with like variable pricing for the Switch at work, where you've got, they look at every game subjectively and they're like, okay, that's an $80 game. That's a $50 game. That's a $30 game. I think that's the route forward. I think that's probably how Xbox is going to be doing it, because you're not going to look at Towerborn and be like, $70, $80. Like, no, that's going to be however much it is, $20, $30, something like that. like, I think that's how it's going to be done whenever you look at a Forza. Like, that's going to be the AAA experience. But then you look at something that might be a smaller game, you're going to have the variable pricing there. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that going forward. So everybody gave Doug some trash about that. Like, I did too, because you're like, $80. Like, it still sucks. But it's probably the way it's going to go.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that because like Donkey Kong 70, which I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like I think that's a $70 based on what I know a AAA game to be today and not yesterday and not today, right? There is a $70 version of Towerborn. That's wild.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. But I was thinking of something like South of Midnight came out at $40, right?
Mhm.
Like that's what we need. Hellblade 2 was $50. Like let's just explore the range. I think this announcement gives us more leeway to do that. Although I do think they're gonna push for 80 if they can.
Oh yeah, I think that's no doubt. Towerborn Silver Founders Pack, $24.99, so like $25. So, but there is a very expensive edition. There is I do see a $70 Founders Pack with gold,
wild.
platinum, and silver stuff in it. That's crazy.
That reminds me of the people that spent $100 on multiverses.
Oh yeah,
how's that treating you now, folks?
yeah. You'll definitely have that. I wonder how many people bought. Were there cosmetics in Crash Team Rumble?
I don't. I honestly, there were unlockable ones. I don't remember paid cosmetics, but
I don't know.
I wouldn't have bought them regardless.
That's what's hard, and we could like that's a totally different topic for another show. But like thinking about Marathon, if you have a free to play game that you're trying to get money into, how do I know this game's gonna like survive? You know, like why am I like Fortnite? Fortnite, I can buy skins in because I know Fortnite. My kids are gonna play Fortnite. Like I know that game isn't going anywhere. That's the new Roblox. Like that's up there. But Marathon, yeah, I'm sure you're gonna have 6 skins, but it's like, is that gonna be something that I have a good investment in a year and a half from now? I have no idea. But that's a topic for another day.
Well, listen. The last game I bought skins in was Battleborn. So
how'd that work out for you?
Oh yeah, I can't remember what they look like. It's just faded from my memory. Concord was going to be the next one, but R.I.P.
Yeah, also faded. I have a lot of skins in Halo. I unlocked a lot of stuff in Halo Infinite, and I haven't played Halo Infinite in a while. But like, I put a lot of time into that. I don't know how many hours I've got in it, but a good many.
Yeah, it's not a Concord situation.
True.
Yeah. Well, let's move on past that bad news to even more bad news. So, story number 2, EA and Respawn are having some issues. Unfortunately, EA announced another round of layoffs this week. Bloomberg reports that EA has laid off 300 to 400 people, including 100 developers at Respawn Entertainment, the studio best known for Apex Legends, Star Wars Jedi, and Titanfall. In a statement, Respawn also confirmed, along with these layoffs, they've canceled 2 games internally. Bloomberg reports that one of these games was an extraction shooter set in the Titanfall universe. So obviously, layoffs, garbage. Hate this. We've seen it way too much. We saw more today in the games media industry, with as you mentioned, Polygon, Giant Bomb. It's an unfortunate trend that continues to happen. But I will say, speaking about the game part of this, and I'll let you touch on the layoffs. What the hell are they making an extraction shooter for?
Yeah, man, it's weird. And I mean, like, to start off with the layoffs, I think that going to the media ones first, like as somebody, and I'm sure that everybody here had a dream to some degree of like, I want to be in games media or games, like, I want to work in games one day. And to see the people that pursued that as your career, and like I would consider to be like inspirational in a lot of ways, like Nicole Carpenter or Polygon. I've read so many Nicole Carpenter articles over the years, and it's like to see such a talented person out of a job like that. I'm like, what are we doing? Like it's pretty disheartening as somebody who looked to that industry as something that I wanted to do professionally one day. And like, I didn't end up going down that road, but like, it just sucks to see the people that did suffer for the choice to go after their dreams. And the same could be said for developers, because you're like, it's Respawn. What do you mean you're laying off
your most successful studio?
Like, why are you letting go of people that are making Star Wars and Apex and that made Titanfall and that like have tons of Call of Duty, like, esque experience under their belt, that kind of thing? I just think that's all crazy. to your point though, and I got a lot of flack for this in the XEP Discord as well, but I'm like, where did this trend of extraction shooters come from where everybody's like, yeah, this is the thing? Because like I've seen the sponsored Arc Raiders streams earlier this week. I've seen the marathon stuff. I've been playing a little bit of marathon. I know Ellery's been playing marathon as well, much more positive on it than me. And it's just, I think for me, I'm trying to like remove myself because I know that I'm biased because I typically play single player games, but I just don't see this genre as being accessible enough to warrant the amount of resources being poured into it that you can positively say you're going to make that money back. Like Battle Royale, I can dive into Fortnite solos right now, roll fine, have a whole bot filled lobby, have a good time. Like I know I can do that and be fine. If I jump into marathon, it's not a holistic experience that I know that I'm going to be satisfied with as a solo player for months and months on end or years on end. And so to put like Respawn, and I have no idea how big that team was, but like you're laying off 100 people. Let's just say 100 people were working on this game. Like if you put 100 people on a Titanfall extraction shooter instead of a Titanfall multiplayer FPS, and like the thing that I pitched in my video was like a Call of Duty mobile style free to play Titanfall game where it's literally just Titanfall. And it's got like the sick maps. You've got the Titans fighting. You've got a cosmetic store, a battle pass. I feel like that is something that co-op can play, your squad can play, you can play solo. Like there's so many, I don't even need a single player campaign if you don't want to make one. I just feel like that would be such a much better use of time than an extraction shooter. But they've got analysts that probably have data that I don't, obviously. It just feels like it's so tone deaf to be able to continue seeing companies make this type of game.
Yeah, Ghostly Guide says one of those that got let go was the lead designer on a character in Apex that got released the day before.
That's crazy.
That sucks. That is like, that has to be heartbreaking. You're all excited, your character just got released, and then you're out of a job. Like, and it doesn't have to be that way. Like, Apex is super successful. I don't understand, like, this was really necessary, EA.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Apex is successful. I know they've been struggling to keep like growing in the way that they need to warrant the live service stuff. I know they've had like talks about like, I know Andrew Wilson, I think is the EA CEO, that was talking about how they had to evolve. Like Apex 2.0 is on the way. They're going to make like a kind of like the relaunch, like Warzone 2.0 situation to bring people back. But to your point though, it's still something that's got an audience and that I still think about whenever I think about like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Apex Legends. Like those are kind of like the big three that I think about for multiplayer games. But yeah, it's just crazy to see Respawn get hit like that whenever you've got so much potential to do something cool.
This is Dragon Age's fault. I know it.
I mean, they got hit with the round of layoffs over there too.
No,
like
no,
it's just yeah.
clearly a jest. But if back to your extraction shooter point, because if we are talking about the game side of this, like I'm with you. I have yet to see any extraction shooter come out and say this is why this genre is going to be the next big thing. This is why you need to get in on the ground floor and invest in Marathon, in whatever the Rainbow Six Siege one was, right? Didn't they have an extraction shooter?
They did have the Rainbow Six Siege. Was it called Extraction? It was the Alien one.
They might have just, I think Alien might have had one too. But I've yet to see anyone really nail this genre in any sort of showcase. Nothing I've seen tells me that this is going to turn into a battle royale style thing where I was absolutely sick of battle royales. Like we had a stretch there where every game I felt like, introduce our brand new battle royale game. Like we're innovating on this genre. I'm like, no, you're not. You're literally doing the same thing everyone else is doing. We had a dodgeball battle royale game. All right. So I just don't see why they would work on that when you have a vocal Titanfall like fandom who was just like, give us Titanfall 3. Like Titanfall 2 has phenomenal multiplayer. It also has a great single player story campaign. That's a whole nother thing. But like if you just wanted a multiplayer suite that you could make money out of, Titanfall 3 would have found players. Like I have to believe that the online discourse of everyone loving this game isn't just like some bubble, right? Like people actually like it.
Yeah, I think I definitely think there would have been a market for Titanfall 3, and there still would be a market for Titanfall 3. I think that they've got to set the right expectations of like putting a Titanfall 3 alongside the Helldivers. Like, I feel like putting those expectations in check and being like, we want something that's got a really hardcore group of people that really enjoys playing it. Like, that's where I would pin it. And in the chat, like, I know everybody always talks about Escape from Tarkov as like the one that goes to it. And everybody's trying to like, I see a lot of talk about how companies are chasing after like that Tarkov magic and stuff. And like, yeah, Tarkov blew up, but like that's a super hardcore game. And then even looking at like the Twitch viewership, like right now I pulled up Twitch tracker. It's got roughly 6,000 live viewers. Peak viewers in 2023 was 560,000. And you can literally see year over year where like there'll be a big annual update or like the holidays will hit. And then all of a sudden it's just like it's going down. So like there's not a whole lot of interest in that. I know the marathon streaming numbers and player count numbers, which again, like, people are getting in waves, and like you can't really look at Steam numbers as like the end all be all of what's going on with the game. But I know Paul Tassi put out an article where it's like there was not a continued sustained interest in Marathon during its debut weekend. That's not good. Last time we had that situation, we had a little Concord. So it's like, it's not looking good for the people that are experimenting with that, but you can't learn unless you experiment. So it's a catch-22 of like, you've got to try something. And if it doesn't work out, then you've learned that. But that normally comes at the expense of developers that have spent tons of time making something, then getting hit with an EA layoff. So like that sucks to see.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not calling Marathon dead on arrival. I've seen a lot of people write it off already. I think there are things about it that people like. Like I've listened to plenty of people talk about it right now. Some really like the game, others don't. Others say it gets better the more you play it. So like I think if Bungie takes the feedback and maybe they need to delay the game to make changes and see it be a success, but there clearly is something there where you can combine the Bungie gunplay that everyone loves and take the feedback from the alpha, the beta, and make a game that has a better shot of coming out and being a success.
Yeah, no, I don't think the Marathon's dead on arrival either. I just think that it's going to be one of those ones that gets a lot of attention on it because it's Bungie, and then you're going to have like whatever the future of Destiny 2 is going to be, because I know they have new seasons and stuff coming. So like you've got a lot riding on that. You've got the reputation of being Bungie, and then I think it's going to come out and it's just not going to hit the highs that I think people expect from a Bungie game, because we all grew up on like Halo 2, Halo 3. So like you think, new Bungie game, big thing. Then all of a sudden it's not the thing that people want in their minds, even though it's never really been pitched in that way. Like, I think that's the other thing is like, this is not, I think that people have a misunderstanding of how big they want this game to be internally. And like, that's something I learned myself whenever I dove into it, because it's very different than what you would get from a full Bungie game. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be dead on arrival. I do think it's got to have, like, I would love to see a delay for Marathon to refine it, get some more like PvE elements in there. Like I talked about in my video, like I'd love just a general Destiny patrols style approach. But we'll see what they do with it. It's going to be tricky.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, hope everyone lands on their feet. They got laid off, and maybe don't make extraction shooters anymore, people, please. That's all I'm asking. Let's Star Wars good, but Respawn, like, you have so much talent. You can do so many good things.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, we had one more topic listed here. It's kind of a short one, so might just scrap it, but we can touch on it if you want. It's just a quick thing. Matt Piscatella came out, said that U.S. spending on video game subscriptions hasn't grown since 2020, 2021, apart from a small bump last year due to Call of Duty on Game Pass. Piscatella states subscriptions clearly are not the future of gaming, just a part of it. And this was just something I wanted to briefly touch on, because I find myself agreeing more and more with him, where I see people keep talking about like, oh, how big can Game Pass get? Can it hit the 50 million mark, and all these numbers they're throwing out? I know Xbox said they wanted 100 million by some year, right? Like 2027. And for me, I'm very much in the camp of like, I think Game Pass is almost like at its peak. Like I don't really see it growing much more.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that, like, getting back to the conversation around the spending on subscriptions is not grown. I think that goes back to what Xbox has been saying about, like, it being an option, right? Like, this is how you have an option to access games. If you want to do it piecemeal, game by game, and you just want to sub to Game Pass for a month to play a new game, you can do that. Or you can buy your games outright for 70, 80, 90, $100, whatever they might be. It's painful. But I think this is reflective of, like you said, you've kind of hit a peak, I think. And I do think the Game Pass would be much bigger had Xbox Series sold better. But now you're at a part where I think now they're pivoting the future growth of Game Pass to PC, to cloud, to televisions, which is part of cloud. And I think that's kind of where they're betting big. And I know that there have been stats thrown around like LG TVs and Samsung TVs are one of the biggest growth factors for cloud gaming. And so seeing that investment in that technology take off and actually be something that is worthwhile, apparently, kind of has me shocked, because I did not think that would be something that, like, actually goes down and is successful in the way that it seems like it has been. So that's good to see. But it does make me, I don't want to say concerned, but I'm curious about what the next generation looks like, because we know there's a new piece of hardware on the way. What is the pricing like that on? How does it position itself? Like, is cloud involved in any kind of deep way? It's just going to be a really weird piece of hardware.
Yeah, I don't really know. We've heard it's gonna be a PC hybrid. I'm like, okay, well, with these new price increases and the PS5 Pro being $700, I told everyone, I was like, I think $900 is like the floor for next gen consoles. And that, like, if you would ask me 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh, they're gonna be $500, like they always are. And then now I'm sitting here, I'm like, they might be $1,000.
I'm curious if the current administration pushes the launch back to where, like, they give it time to breathe and they're like, okay, we renegotiate this so that we don't have this dumpster fire. But then production, comes into play where, like, the Switch 2 has been in production since, like, what, beginning of last year or something. Like, they've had these things stocked in warehouses. You have, like, the 3D printed Taiwanese, like, really shitty warehouse pictures that go online. Like, I think I saw that like March of last year or something. Everybody's like, yeah, it's a new Joy-Con. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say, I think 600, 700. Like, I think that's probably where I think, because you've still got to be within the throwing distance of, like, okay, I would have paid 500, but now it's 600. Okay, whatever, inflation. Like, I think that's where they've got to hit. I think 850, you're like, Jesus.
So, like, a PS5 Pro is 700 though. So, like, unless they drop that price when the PS6 comes out. Right.
I mean, I'm sure that price has got to go down eventually, but then it's like,
you'd say the same about the Series X one.
But how much was the PS4 Pro?
The PS4 Pro, when it came out, they dropped the price of the PS4, and then that took over its price point.
So it launched at $399.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what AI tells me. So PS4 Pro launched at $399. That's gonna be tough. All right, you might be right. You might got me on that one. That's gonna be expensive.
yeah. No, and again, we're talking about future subscriptions. I made my point clear. Like, I'm gonna hop in and out. I think except for my PS5, except for my PS Plus, because I'm grandfathered into $80 for the premium, so I get it half off. And I'm like, as soon as they raise that on me, I'm out.
Oh yeah,
but, like,
that's coming. That's coming.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ride that to the ground though. Like, and that's where I'm at with these consoles too. If we're talking about, like, next gen, I'm just like, they're still making games for PS4, Xbox One. So, like, I have no reason to doubt they're still gonna make games for Series X, PS5, well into the next generation. So I'm like, let's make this generation 13 years, boys. Like, let's just keep it going. I'll save up for a new graphics card with whatever my PC. And, like, maybe at that point, I just switch. Like, who knows?
I mean, it's valid, because I worry about, like, how the cost of technology on the consumer level is going to be the thing that holds back innovation and, like, gets us to better looking, better playing games, like getting like I don't know if this is meant to sound negative, but it's like, now devs really have to focus on optimizing Unreal Engine 5, because it's like, now you've really got to make it work on older hardware.
It better be good now.
Right, because now you've got, like, people are going to be playing GTA 6 on an Xbox Series S until 2028. So you better get that thing working, and that's kind of what you're dealing with. But yeah, I think PC is going to continue to grow in a big way, because, to your point, like, more people are getting into content creation, more people are getting into podcasting. Why would I spend $800, $900 on a console when I could potentially, if that was the situation, spend $800 on a graphics card and then save up some extra cash and build like a PC. Like it is going to be significantly more expensive if you're just going for a console, but if you're willing to kind of wait for the better thing, then makes it reasonable.
Yeah, and I think it sucks because a lot of us, like, especially as we have grown up, got jobs and got our own income, we're used to just being like, well, I'm gonna get the new console on launch day, and to feel like I'm getting priced out where it's like I might have to wait for a sale. Do sales ever come on consoles in the future? Because this generation's like kind of worrying me. It sucks. It's a bad feeling where you can't like where you have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox Series S has had cuts earlier on in the generation, but like there have not been significant price decreases at all. Like there have not been a lot of price cuts along the way. Now we're getting these price hikes.
Let
So
me tell you,
it's
I
gonna be
gotta go
rough.
find a bunch of Series S's on Facebook Marketplace. I'm gonna buy them, and then
I
I'm
had
gonna
that
go to
thought today.
GameStop. I'm gonna go
I had that thought today.
I'm gonna
I'm
go
gonna
get
go. I'm gonna go lowball somebody and be like, 75.
120, 120,
Oh, it's painful.
and then you go to GameStop, flip that, you're rich.
Yeah, I now I laugh whenever I'm like, I have a $250 GameStop gift card, and I'm like, that's not going to pay for a third of whatever the next thing is. That's going to suck.
What was it? We'll go after this, but Miles Dampier, I think he posted this. He was like, "My generation may never know the feeling of owning a home, but we get to know a little bit about like your equity growing with our consoles that we bought 5 years ago."
I mean, it's valid. It's valid.
Like, oh, okay, all right. Well, on that note, we will wrap up the show. Sam, do you want let everyone know where they can find you, my friend?
Yeah, you can find me at JamPackSam.com. I had some cool unboxings this week. Xbox sent me the Doom Xbox controller, so I got to check that out. Excited to play some Doom, and now I got some more cool stuff coming this weekend. A couple of keyboard reviews in the docket because apparently I'm a keyboard guy now, so I'm doing that. And yeah, man, I got some good stuff coming. So JamPackSam.com.
I like to think that you have a closet full of keyboards that you squeeze them in after, then you're like, no.
I have a separate shelf that I put up in the storage closet for like collectible boxes and stuff, and I have just like one side of it's just like Steel Series is what the entire side of it is, and then a couple of other like razors and stuff that have come my way. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
not off.
One day they'll be pouring out of the Scrooge McDuck vault.
It's gonna be like the letters in Harry Potter where I just like have them pouring out of like
yes.
the.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can find me at the Muffin Mon everywhere. It's 1 and 7 IO and 7A. Follow us at Save the Game Media on Blue Sky to stay up to date with all of our latest content. Until next time, we'll